like, all right, it's okay. It's 2011. Everybody's credit check comes back bad. It's all right. Wondering how you got that $1,000, but it's okay. He warns me that a DUI might show up on his background check. It might. Like maybe the court clerk typed the letters D-U-E accidentally. I don't know what this fucker thinks the court process is like. But he's like, hey, DUI might show up on my background check. He's like, I've seen my own background check. The time I didn't cover my math book in 7th grade shows up. His DUI better. And sure enough, it does, along with 2 others. Add to this recipe 6 arrests for public drunkenness. Sprinkle in 2 more for assault. Bake. And you have a lovely pie of, fuck no! Fuck no, you cannot rent something from me, you crazy bastard! Like, honestly, going through that man's 48-page background check was like being at your grandmother's on Thanksgiving morning and like smelling all the pies that she's making. You know what I mean? Like you're smelling, like, oh, that's apple pie. This is gonna be great. Yeah, that's me about page 27. Look, public drunkenness and assault the same day, honey. It's a fuck no pie. You smell that? You smell that? That is a fuck no pie. But here's the thing. His fuck no pie was not nearly as impressive as her fuck no pie. Because hers was bigger, way bigger, but made with just one ingredient. Just one. Arson. Arson. The act of setting fire to something, property, on purpose. She had been convicted of arson just 3 months prior, and she's walking amongst us for some reason. Like, his fuck no pie would feed a whole African village. Hers would feed it and give it diabetes later that night. Bam, done, African village. So we do what we should have done in the first place, which was type her name into Google. The very first thing that comes up is the police report saying what had happened. And it's exactly what you think happened. Basically, drunken drunker went out to the bars that night. They get back, drunk kicks drunker out. Drunk is him, drunker's her. You'll understand why. She decides she'd like to get back in the house. Now, whereas you or I would like try to, I don't know, Jimmy the Lock, find an open window, she's like, no, I'm an innovator, I'm gonna burn my way back in. And that's what police find her doing at 3 in the morning, setting fire to the windowsill in the most perverse adaptation of Adele's song that you could find. Thank you, 3 women who got that. And now, we have to call her and tell her she didn't get the apartment. Doesn't sound like she likes to hear the word no. No matter how many Jaeger bombs she is into the day, I don't think she likes rejection. But we've got to call her. And so I make my girlfriend do it. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I made my girlfriend do it. Because my girlfriend is not a smart-ass jerk like me. Like, my girlfriend was just, she was masterful. She totally deflected that we knew anything about what was on those checks. Like, just said, oh, the association turned you down. The association turned you down. We don't know why. We really liked you. And the girl was handling it okay until she said, well, we're really disappointed. We thought we were going to get this apartment. I mean, you put out that ad up on Craigslist. All you're going to get are serial killers. This is why I'm glad I wasn't on the phone. My girlfriend somehow handled that nicely and hung up. Whereas I would have been, okay, I've seen enough episodes of Dexter to know, ladies, that I would much prefer a serial killer over your drunk Bernie ass. I could either have a lonely guy who never has friends over and always lays down plastic before he makes a mess, or setting fire to a windowsill lady. I think I'm going with serial killer. Sometimes serial killers are the better option. That's my time. Enjoy the rest of your night. See you later.
Well, these guys are like surprising the hell out of me. I only see them at the small places like in Allentown and stuff, where you just do the same stuff over and over again because you're like trying to learn something. But then when they do a show, they're actually pretty good. They have material. It blows me away, man. I don't know what to do here. I'm like, I know nothing about comedy. I'm trying to stand up with these guys. We got two good comedians in the area, very well known, and we actually have probably the biggest comedian in the area. And I'm going to bring him up now. His name is Jason and the Argonauts. What's your last name?
Brown.
Brown. Jason Brown.
Thanks, Mel. I was actually named after Jason and the Argonauts because my mom was a hippie. That's why we use microphone stands, Mel. That's all right. It's only water. It's not like on flag. Hi, how you guys doing? That was a bad start. Let's start over. Mel, say my name again.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Never mind. We didn't learn anything.
Jason Brown.
I know Mel from the open mics and classes and stuff, and really honored to be asked to do the show. Thanks everybody for coming out and for supporting. I love doing shows with Glenn and Ryan because one talks about serial killer. Well, they both talk about serial killer tonight, and then Ryan brought up Jim Thorpe. I have a great story about Glenn, serial killers, and Jim Thorpe. You guys want to hear it? Is anybody familiar with Jim Thorpe?
Yes.
Yeah. The town is divided in two halves by a river, right? And on one side of the town is every commercial thing you can think of, stores, banks, everything. And on the other side is 99% residential and a grocery store. And one day, like Glenn's never been there, and I was trying to describe to him the town, and I was like, look, if you started a fire at the Giant, and all the emergency services went on that side of the river, and you just parked a truck in the middle of the bridge, it'd just be anarchy on the other side of town. And he's like, I think you're the Joker. You and my daughter are going to jail together. That's the only way, I don't know who designed a town like that. It's really weird. I wore the jacket because I knew Glenn was on the show, and I thought, this was dressed down from Glenn. No, he had a hat though. I didn't bring my fedora. I'll wear. This is like a kid's fedora. Sorry, Mel. My name, like I said, my name is Jason Brown. My mom did name me after Jason the Argonauts, and my middle name is spelled wrong because my dad does drugs. It's true. But I hate my name, and not just because it's spelled wrong, but I hate my name Jason Brown because I want to be a famous comic. I want people to know the name Jason Brown as a comedian. So I Google my name to see if I come up. I don't come up. I don't know if anybody's ever tried that. Don't Google my name. Like lately, you get that guy who mutilated dogs. That's not me. I promise. Another thing that comes up is this guy named Jason Brown who is on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. It's true. That used to come up first, and then this dog mutilator is just killing my reputation. Now, I live in Bethlehem, I have outstanding parking tickets, so I'm like, I want to know, like, if the cops show up, like, what priors might come up when they run my name. So I clicked on it, and Jason Brown robbed a bank. He shot a guard. He escaped with $50,000 on a bicycle. Yeah. That's my out. I'm gonna be like, check the garage. There's no bike. There hasn't been one since I was 10. I traded it to an Amish kid for a pie. I did that joke in Lancaster at a comedy show, and they're like, no, that happens. Amish kids carry pies in their pocket, and they love bikes. That happens. There is a guy who has a worse name than me, and it's my Uncle Charlie. Charlie Brown. Yeah, this guy was keeping score. It's probably why he does heroin. Not you, my Uncle Charlie. And I wasn't going to tell this joke, because it's like, Mel wrote to me earlier, he's like, hey, can we keep it rated R? And then you guys yelled out, fuck Keith Tickle! So I was like, gates are open, pal. My Uncle Charlie, he's a heroin addict, and he was close in age to my dad, so they were like good friends. So he was always over the house when I was growing up because he was on heroin. He was always in and out of rehab, which was really hard on me because you can only fit so much heroin up an 8-year-old's ass. It's not a lot. It's not. I was a smaller kid. I almost bought a white suit one time, and the guy who was like measuring me is like, "You know what you look like, right? Like you know you look like Gozer the Destroyer." For those of you who aren't big fans of the movie, that's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I do not. And for the older folks, that's the Michelin Man. I don't know. I can't go back further than that. I just big fat guy in a white suit. Just not. It's not good. It's not good. Does everybody here have pets? Like normally everybody has pets. You guys have pets? Where are the cat people at? Alright, where are the dog people at? Alright, there's a right answer to that question, the wrong answer. The right answer is dog. That's why like 3 cat. And there was other cat people that were getting pointed at by their friends. I'm a dog person, I love my dog. And actually I realized the other day I might be addicted to my dog. Like when I got it, it was like such a happy mind. I would pet it all the time, and I'd be really happy petting it. And now I have to pet it to feel normal. So I'm pretty sure I have to go see a 12-step program to get off my dog. I love my dog, but not like. People like other comics make fun of me. They're like, dude, you like your dog like way too much. And I'm like, no, but not. That's disgusting. But like, if you called me and told me that my wife was in a car accident on the way to the vet, I would probably ask about the dog first. Like, the dog's okay, right? Anybody here? I live in Bethlehem. You guys, a lot of you guys indicate you live in Easton. Anybody go to Music Fest? Couple of you. What I love to do at Music Fest, I love to just sit back and listen to the drunk people talk, right? I mean, it's so good. It's so good. And this year, this lady turns to who I'm assuming was her boyfriend, and this is like noon, so she's pretty wasted. And she says, "You're gonna go see a Genesis cover band?" I saw the real Genesis. And I was like, wow, she doesn't even look 4.5 million years old. Or 6,000 years old, or however old dumb people think the world is. Oh, creationists in the audience? I apologize. Are there any creationists in the audience? Couple. I'm actually leaning towards your direction because I found proof lately that evolution does not exist. I can prove it because urine doesn't kill shower mold. Like you think if evolution was real, that would happen, right? Like there's mold in the shower, you pee on it, it's gone. That should work. But I also believe you're gonna go home and try it later. Try it. But I also believe in this scientific method, right? So every morning I put a little bit of bleach in my wife's coffee. And like I watch the shower to see if the mold gets any better. I haven't been doing it long. And we have 2 adult children, and they use a separate bathroom, so it's like a control group. So I've been monitoring the mold and bleach in their food too. When I tell people I'm married and I have 2 adult kids, they're like, "You don't look old enough to be married and have 2 adult kids." I was married 18 years, actually, this past Sunday. Don't applaud, she's not here. No, stop. She could have been here, she's not. She's at home where she belongs. But I tell, like, if you do the math, 18 years, all right, the kids, they're not adults, they're teenagers. I would just like to see them tried as adults, that's why I call them that. That's funny, don't worry about it, I'll get it later. Speaking of diseases, great segue. I hate when people claim to have a disease and they don't. And let me explain. I hate when people say I have OCD. Right? Like that, you don't. You probably don't. Oh, I don't like straw paper to touch my lip. You don't have OCD. That's not a thing unless you go to a doctor and get diagnosed and get medicated. You probably don't have OCD, and it really bothers me. And then the other day I was in the shower and I looked at my shampoo bottle was right side up. And I know this sounds really dumb, but I buy a certain kind of shampoo because I like to put it upside down, and it wasn't, and I was kind of freaked out about it. And I was like, oh my God, maybe I have OCD. I don't, and I'm smart enough to know I don't because I don't count to 3 all the time and I don't wash my hands repeatedly. So then I'm like, oh wait a minute, I'm not a hugger. I might have autism. I think I have autism. If you see me after the show, don't hug me. I might freak the fuck out. I might. Is any? I love segues. Segues are great. Anybody here from a broken home? Anybody? Is anybody's parents divorced, or did you anybody break a home? That would be good. The guy in the back who's clapping for my wife clapped for broken homes, so I'm wondering if maybe he knows her. So, your parents got divorced?
Occasionally.
I was talking to the guy behind you when I said sir. Like, I know you said I was an ugly baby, but you do not look like a dude. Like I would have said ma'am. Your parents got divorced too?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. You were just having a really shitty time. I'm gonna talk to him so they don't cry. Your parents got, even though they all laughed at your disease earlier, I don't want to pile on. Did your parents get divorced?
Yes.
And did they start to date eventually?
Yes.
Was that weird for you?
A little bit.
It was a little weird for me too, right? Like, who dated first, your mom or your dad?
Yeah.
Your dad. I think that's the case. Wait, is there like a time, there should be like a standard time period, right? Like, how long did your dad wait?
About a week.
About a week? No, my dad brought a date to my mom's memorial service. And I'm like, that's too soon. He should probably have waited longer, right? I know. You're the one trying to make everybody cry. No, it's fine. And like, I was upset. And my family came up to me and they're like, hey, you just don't like her because she's your dad's first girlfriend after your mom passed away. For those of you who didn't get the memorial service reference. And I was like, no, we don't get along in study hall. She's a bitch. I've been telling that story on stage for a while now, and it was just today it hit me. Like, what would her side of that be like? Like, I've got a date. It's with an older man. What do you wear to his wife's memorial service? Like, obviously black. Like, that's respectful if you're worried about that kind of thing. Yeah, no, I just brother ripped out. I'm gonna get a drink of water and hopefully we'll all laugh at the next thing. Everybody's drinking, right? We are in a brewery. Nobody applauds for that. Nobody, no, we're sober as hell. It's a fucking fundraiser, dick. Everybody's drinking, right? There you go. I'm drinking ice water because there's a reason, and I had to stop drinking, and not for a fun reason like too many DUIs. I had to stop drinking because I was getting kicked out of too many places for being drunk that weren't bars. I was up at the promenade, right? Oh, you? What are you drinking tonight, sir?
I stopped actually too.
You
home, but it's just beer.
Like, you stopped like an hour ago, or you stopped in life?
But when I went to the bar to here.
Okay, so no, you didn't really stop. Like, I'm drinking ice water.
It's not for me either.
I was up at the promenade. You guys been to the promenade?
Yeah.
And I didn't know LL Bean was an actual store, right? I just thought it was a catalog people kept in their house to look adventurous. And I'm like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna check it out. So I go in, and this one display caught my eye immediately, right? Now I've never been climbing, I've never been rappelling, I've never been spelunking. But there's just something about this wall of like shiny hooks and colorful ropes that caught my eye, right? So I'm there, I'm checking it out, and the clerk comes over, and I didn't know there was like a built-in attitude to the store either. And he taps me on the shoulder and he's like, excuse me, sir, but the keychains are over there. And I was like, oh shit. What he should have said was, excuse me, sir, you're way too fat for anything on that wall. Get the fuck out of our store. But I'm drunk, right? I don't want to let him know that he won. So I wait a minute, I'm staring at the wall for a little bit. And I lean in and I'm like, hey man, what do you think's harder to escape from, cotton or nylon rope? I got kicked out. Not allowed back at LL Bean. married 18 years, right? I'm surfing the internet for porn. Don't be surprised. My therapist wasn't. And I find this one chat room. This is all Asian chat. And I'm like, how are they gonna know? How are they gonna know I'm not Asian? Like, what the hell is going on in there? That you need to be Asian and they're gonna run a check at the door. So I go in, and there's nothing going on in there. And after about 5 minutes, somebody types something I think's genuinely funny. So I replied ROR. I got kicked out. They're like, that guy's not Asian. He's drunk at home in front of his computer. You know where you can't get kicked out of? You can't get kicked out of the hospital. And I don't mean like visiting someone. Like when you get admitted to the hospital, you can't get kicked out. I got admitted, I knew I was gonna be there for a week, it was no big deal, don't worry about it. And no, seriously. No, really. And I knew I was gonna be there for a week, but I was going crazy. So like I'm hitting the button a million times and I'm running around my room naked and they wouldn't kick me out. And finally the nurses got annoyed with me and she comes in the room carrying an enema. And I was like, no, wait a minute. I'm just trying to get discharged. And she's like, you're gonna be fully discharged. We're gonna take care of that. I used to work here in Easton. This is a little weird coming back. I used to work at Bimbo. No applause. Don't. No, the same guy who applauds for my wife is applauding for the place that laid me off. We're gonna need to see some ID, sir. How many have you had to drink? I used to work there. I'm laid off now, right? And like I've been doing fine, telling jokes in bars. That's fine. But I just realized money is becoming a problem. Like I'm not there yet. Like I'm not broke. And the way I figured it out was I was at McDonald's and was concerned about the price of a Happy Meal. I was like $7.50 for number 3. I used to buy like 3 of them and just swipe my card and not worry about it. Also, like you start to make cutbacks. And you don't realize what's going to go first. Look at the obvious one. Like I cut the cable. I don't have cable TV. Everybody's doing that, right? That's a big bill. But then like I'm doing laundry the other day and I put the detergent in and I reach for the fabric softener and there's no fabric softener. I was like, oh shit, we probably stopped buying that. And like you don't really need it, right? But then I'm like, man, I wish I could like win the Powerball or something. I don't mean like the 200 million Powerball. Like I don't need houses or cars or women. I want enough money to live comfortably. And when I say comfortably, I mean I want there to be fucking fabric softener. Like whatever amount of money I need to secure to have fabric softener. And if you hug me later, this is all rough. It's rough. You don't want to hug from this, and I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna cheat. I also, I used to work night shift there. I worked night shift for 14 years. And I would get bored at night because there's nothing to do. So I would get on Twitter. Does everybody know what Twitter is? Pretty much, yeah. At this point. Now you guys are on a Snapchat. This is like an old joke. I would get on like Twitter at 2 o'clock in the morning and I would tweet dumb shit at companies just to see if they'd reply. Like I'd be like, hey, Taco Bell. Forget the Doritos taco. Just put the meat and the cheese in the bag with the Doritos. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We don't really give a shit. We're gonna eat anything. Taco Bell never responded. They never did, but Twitter did. And they're like, I got one of those emails like, hey, we noticed you've been tweeting to Taco Bell. You might also like Applebee's, Arby's, and Panic at the Disco. Because somebody at Twitter thinks Panic at the Disco gives you diarrhea. I don't know. I'm not a fan of theirs. Maybe they discovered the brown noise. I'm not sure. But when I got laid off, I did what Fox News told me I'm supposed to do, and I went to the casino to try to double up my first check. And I saw the scariest thing ever when I walked in. And what it is I walked in and there at the first bank of slot machines was a prosthetic leg. Now I know everything, like it's 2014, people have amputations, we've all seen prosthetic pieces. That wasn't the scary part, right? I went around the corner, there was no one there, no one. Somebody was so mad, they're like, fuck it, I'm going home. Normally the stage is bigger. No, but does that guy like wake up the next morning drunk, like wondering where he left his leg? And is that any worse worse or better than waking up to someone you don't know? I don't know you, but I have both my legs, so we're cool. We're good with that. Being laid off, one of the things I love, I absolutely love, are naps. You guys like naps? Naps are the best, right? You know what I hate though is like when you're all comfortable and you're all like cozy and you're about to go under and your GPS reminds you that your turn's in 5 miles. I hate that. I'm like, 5 more miles, come on. I love naps, but I was recently, this isn't like cystic fibrosis or anything, but I would have sleep apnea. We don't need to raise a cure, I have to breathe better. But I have a machine that pumps oxygen into me while I sleep. And but I love naps, and I have an awesome recliner in the living room. And my wife, she is a nag, so every time I fall asleep in the chair, she's like, "Hey, you have to. If you're gonna sleep, you have to go up next to the machine." I'm like, "No, I wasn't sleeping. This was a tiny suicide attempt." I'm trying to build up courage, just one step at a time. Anybody, when I said I was unemployed, there wasn't a lot of applause. I'm guessing most of you have jobs. You don't have to throw it in my face like that. Sir, where do you work? Yeah, you with the hair.
Where do I?
I know you moved from the back.
I work around the corner actually.
On the corner, like where? Like not geographically, like.
It's the Benjamin Regal Mansion.
Okay. Does anybody else have an actual job? What do you do now?
My husband's the pizza guy.
Oh, your husband's the pizza guy. All right, I guess we can work with that. When I worked at the bakery.
I'm Mel's best friend.
Sorry to hear that. When I worked at the bakery, I had an employee discount. Your husband's the pizza guy. You get free pizza.
I get free pizza.
I was having a discussion about employee discounts with a friend. We were walking into a dollar store,
Sorry.
like a 99-cent store, right? And I was like, I wonder if they have an employee discount at the dollar store. And I don't have a filter. Like, I'll go up and ask people anything. So I go in and I go like right up to the register. I was like, hey, can you do me a favor and answer the question for me? She's like, yeah, sure, what? And I was like, do you guys have an employee discount here? And it wasn't her answer that was shocking, but it was how she answered. She was like, I wish. Like, how fucked up is your life that you wish you had an employee discount at the dollar store? Where you put like 2 scented candles, a whoopee cushion, and a Jacob's ladder on the counter. And you're like, I have $3. If only I had a discount, I could get both of those scented candles. Since I worked night shift for 14 years and I'm married, my wife had a regular job. So she would like work during the day and sleep at night, and I would sleep during the day and work at night. And now that I don't have a job, we both have to sleep in the same room at the same time. Does anybody else run into this horrible situation? Like it should not happen. Like now I understand why they had separate beds in old sitcoms. Separate houses. I found out she has sleeping habits that I don't care for. Like she likes to sleep with the window open and the TV on, and I don't like sleeping with her. It's just so I'm trying to figure out like who I do like sleeping with. She's not here. It's fine. And only like 10 people in the room know her. Did anybody, like some people, like they had hors d'oeuvres here, did anybody eat here tonight? I ate here yesterday. The food is awesome. You guys should come. And Wednesdays they have free bacon. I wasn't here early enough for the free bacon, so I don't even really understand it, but there's a huge sign that says free bacon. So next Wednesday, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I had the bacon cheeseburger, so I sampled the bacon, but I had to pay for it. I'm sure it tastes much better free. But tonight before I got here, I had Chinese food. I love Chinese food, right? But I think I need to find a new place to order out from, because I got to the end of the meal, and I love fortunes so much. Like I keep good fortunes in my wallet, right? Like I'm obsessed with the fortunes. So I opened up my fortune cookie, and it's like, fat man's gonna die. was like, holy shit, that's really specific. Like, I wonder what my lucky numbers are, because I need those Powerball numbers. So I turned it over, and on the back of the fortune cookie, it just said ROR. So I'm pretty sure somebody at the Chinese food place saw my act. Gonna need to find a new place. My wife travels sometimes for work or vacation. I'm not sure because I don't listen to her. And no, it's true. She travels. And she had to go to Florida for a week. And I was kind of dreading picking her up at the airport because I was going to have to tell the kids the divorce wasn't real and Aunt Pam wasn't going to be around the house as much. Well, you know, maybe as much. And she calls me. Like she's supposed to be in flight. She calls me at like 1 o'clock in the morning. She calls me at 1 o'clock in the morning. She's like, my plane broke down. I'm like, really? Your plane broke down? Like, how are you calling me? Your plane broke down. They break down, they burst into flames, they crash into the ocean. I watch the news. That's how planes break down. I'm surprised they even know where you're at. That's a really bad joke. You got it. Explain it to the rest of them later. Is it too soon for a Malaysian airline joke? A little bit. All right. Turns out her plane landed in Philly and it wouldn't take off again. Right? Like, that's how it broke down. My luck, that's how it broke down. And she's like, hey, you have to come get me. I'm like, I have to? Like, you paid for a flight to get you all the way home. Why do I have to come get you? She's like, you're my husband, it's a marital obligation, you have to do that. So I'm mad, it's late, it's raining, it's dark, and I'm on my way down there, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, maybe I can turn this around. Maybe I can turn it into a positive situation for the both of us. And when I say both of us, I mean me and my penis. So I'm like, hey, maybe I can turn this into guilt sex. Now, you guys don't look like you've been married that long, so you don't know about guilt sex. But some of the older people in the room, you know what I'm talking about. And here she gets home. It's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. She had a bad day. Her plane broke down. She's not into it. There's no guilt sex going on. And now it's like I can't be like, hey, it's 2 weeks later. The adult kids are out of the house. Let's go. You can't do that. It just doesn't happen. So I came up with an idea, and if you pay attention, you might want to write this down. I came up with a solution. It's going to help everybody. Women, if your boyfriend, your husband, your significant other, your domestic partner, I don't judge too much, they do something reward-worthy, you give them skee-ball tickets, right? And we'll save that shit up in the drawer next to the bed.